this sedimentary rock with sandstone. So right in the middle is the sandstone at the bottom on the outside.
Now it started freezing. Oh my god. It's 1 o'clock in the noon, so sun will not be available here for 5 to 6 months. And even in this place, people follow certain traditional beliefs like this, pairing one stone over the other. Wait a minute. Can you see 3 stones? Thanks, Natkif. Bye bye. No, what monuments these are kept. 71 degree, 10, 21. Northern Cape. Nice movie and panoramic view. Cave of Lights. Of lights.
Velkommen til Cave of Lights, en opplevelse i lys og lyd som tar deg med på en reise gjennom de 4 årstidene på Nordkapp. Welcome to the Cave of Lights, an experience in light and sound that takes you on a journey through the 4 seasons at North Cape. Willkommen bei Cave of Lights, einem Erlebnis aus Ton und Licht das sie auf einer Reise durch die 4 Jahreszeiten am Nordkap mitnimmt.
They come up with goodies in a plastic bag. So it's not uncommon to see somebody hightailing it down High Street in Honningsville with a sea otter on his tail trying to steal his Vienna sausages out of his shopping bag. Okay, and again, as mentioned, our main income on the island is fishing. So I'll send back a picture. This is frozen fish, which we send out in boxes. And stockfish. They are a good fun fish to catch. When I travel, and I think I'm going to spend any amount of time at this place that I'm visiting, for me the best way to learn the local culture, learn to get to know the locals, is at the bar. Yeah. What do they say? The truth comes from the mouth of babes and drunks, or something like that. So I've been on the island for about 3 weeks when I decided, okay, time to meet the locals. Went out to one of our bars and I met 3 fishermen. And they were very excited that I was from Africa. And I was very excited that I was meeting fishermen, that I could grill them about the fishing culture up here. So
in about 890 AD, Viking chieftain Ottar of North Norway sailed on a voyage to England. There, in King Arthur's court, he told of the travels he had made and the country from which he came. Ottar lived, he said, the furthest north of any Norseman. Other sources suggest that the northern limit of permanent settlement at that time was roughly at Malangen Fjord, just south of Tromsø. Norsemen populated the coastal regions south of Malangen. Inland, on the fjords, and on the landward side of the major islands, there lived another kind of people, the Sami. The oldest traces we have of habitation in Sami land date back 12,000 years and come from the Komsa culture in Finnmark, which lasted until circa 3000 BC. The first people to settle in northern Scandinavia were Asian and European tribes who headed north after the last ice age, eventually intermarrying to become one people, the Sami. It was the language of the Asian forefathers that became the tongue of the people of northern Scandinavia. Language historians believe the Sami originally had a single common language, Proto-Sami, which later split into 9 different languages with great variations of dialects. Today, 5 of these languages still exist. Sami land is a land of diverse topographical regions with immense natural wealth in both the land and adjacent seas. Characteristic is the very long coastline, often punctuated by deep fjords, and the sparsity of protective islands. Inland of the coast sits the high plateau, which in the north consists of squat mountains with little vegetation. Parts of this plateau, the Varangur Peninsula and the northern Kola Peninsula, are tundra. Archaeological discoveries from the Sami Iron Age clearly indicate that the original Sami culture was one of hunting and fishing, the Veda culture. In difficult years, the Sami could always retreat to the coast, where rich harvests of fish combined with seal and whale meat were assured. Eventually, the coastal Sami abandoned some of their semi-nomadic ways and became permanent residents at their old seasonal homesteads, where they lived by combining agriculture, fishing, and small game hunting. But while the coastal Sami settled down, the mountain Sami continued their nomadic existence. They achieved this by trapping the remaining wild reindeer and creating domestic herds. From Ottar's account and other sources, it is clear that it was the Sami's harvest of natural resources that provided the Viking chieftain and other noblemen of North Norway with their wealth. The noblemen's riches were based on a so-called tax and trade with the Sami. The wealth involved was vast. Today we know that the Viking tax imposed on the Sami was not paid voluntarily, but collected by force. We have already seen that the northern limit of the Norsemen's settlements prior to 1000 AD was just south of Tromsø at Nalungen Fjord. All points to the north were Sami country. Around 1250 AD, the first church was built on Tromsøya, where the city of Tromsø now stands. Its erection meant the inclusion of Tromsø in the greater Norwegian community. Tromsøya, the island, was not a popular homestead for the Sami, but it did serve as a burial ground. Like the Sami language, the old, naturalistic Sami faith is based on Asian customs. A recurring theme of Sami mythology is the eternal struggle between light and darkness. The Sami natural faith is a shamanic religion, and in Sami, the shaman, or medicine man, is called the Noidi. His job was to make spiritual journeys through the underworld and the real world, accompanied by his drum. Over the years, an intense and often brutal Christianization process was executed. The mission, to destroy the Sami shamanic faith. As many Noidi drums as possible were confiscated and burned. Even some Noidi themselves were burned at the stake. The Sami were also denied education in their own language and culture. The goal was cultural and national unity, and the execution of the policy towards the Sami was considered vital if they were to identify with the nation of Norway. Prior to 1751, there were no national boundaries in Sami land. When the borders between Denmark, Norway, and Sweden-Finland were drawn up in 1751, a special amendment was made to the border treaty, giving the Sami the right to cross from one country to the next with their reindeer herds. As Victorian tourists discovered Tromsø at the end of the 19th century, the Sami reindeer herders received the somewhat dubious honor of becoming the city's most exotic tourist attraction. In the difficult years between 1850 and 1950, the Sami language was oppressed to extinction throughout much of Samiland, particularly in the coastal regions. From 1950 onward, a new enlightenment occurred in the way Norwegian officials looked upon the Sami culture, and its nomadic herding of reindeer in particular. In the United Nations Declaration on Human Rights of 1948, it was expressed that it was no longer acceptable for Norway to openly express a suppressive attitude towards the Sami or other minorities. In 1981, the Norwegian government set up a committee called the Sami Rights Commission to examine the land and water usage rights in Finnmark. One result of the Commission's work was the passing of an amendment to the Constitution by the Norwegian Parliament in 1988, requiring the Norwegian state to put things in place so that the Sami people can safeguard and develop their language, their culture, and their community life. The Sami Parliament has been active since 1989, and in autumn 2000 inaugurated its monumental new parliamentary building in Karasjok in Finnmark. In regards to Sami literature, music, pictorial arts, and other elements of Sami culture, there has been an enormous upsurge in the last few decades. In 1946, they began transmitting regular Sami radio broadcasts from Tromsø. A Sami journalism program has been established, and newspapers are published in Sami. Since 2001, there have been daily television broadcasts in Sami. Tromsø has a long history of providing education in the Sami language and culture. At the end of the 1940s, Tromsø Museum opened an exhibit dedicated to Sami culture research and a Sami ethnographic department. The University of Tromsø has been nominated as Norway's leading custodian of Sami language and culture, and in 1990 established their own Center for Sami Studies. Tromsø also offers Sami language studies in primary and secondary schools and has established a Sami kindergarten. The status of the Sami is increasing in step with their own self-awareness. Remnants of the old Norwegianization era may still be present, but today the Sami are becoming accepted as one of the few remaining indigenous peoples in the world.
Tomorrow, not the Henningsworth, as I said. This is Hammerfest, northernmost in the world. Old and medieval church.